Hi. So in this video, we're going to try and understand how do you read an annual report. What are the parts of the annual report that one should focus on? वो कौन से parts हैं annual report के जिस पे हमें focus करना है, because annual reports बहुत बड़े documents होते हैं तो हम उन्हें cover to cover शायद ना पढ़ पाएं जब हम शुरू कर रहे हैं उनके बारे में जानना. But if we can focus on some of the specific parts, then we can get a lot of information about the company, about the sector as we go along. Right? Generally annual reports easy नहीं होते पढ़ने के लिए. There are like 300 to 500 pages in these documents, and it's important to understand कि कुछ specific segments पे हमें focus करना होगा जब हम इन annual reports को pick कर रहे हैं. तो इसको समझने के लिए we'll take the example of Titan and try and basically look at the 2024 annual report of Titan. Look at specific portions of that report and see कि कहाँ से हमें क्या information मिल सकती है उन reports में. Right? So that's the annual report of Titan for 2024. We have taken screenshots from this. इसमें से कुछ excerpts हमने निकाल लिए हैं जो हम cover करेंगे. We do not need to look at the entire report that is there. What we are going to kind of focus on is these highlighted portions. So हम company की कुछ information initially दी होगी company के पहले कुछ pages में annual report में. So we will look at that. Then Titan gives a detailed information about all the business segments it is in. जो segments में वो हैं, jewelry में, watches में, eye care में, or other segments. All of those information is available here. There's a segment called management discussion and analysis, which is a very, very important component in any annual report. जब भी आप कोई annual report पढ़ें तो the least you should do is कि MD&A, management discussion and analysis को cover करें. और फिर हम बैलेंस शीट P&L को थोड़ा सा देख लेंगे कि what are the numbers that are relevant there and any other information that is available within that. So Titan का example use करते हुए we will look at certain specific components of this report जो कि हमें information देगी consumer durables industry के बारे में, retail industry के बारे में और company के बारे में. Right? So सबसे पहले when we start this report, you'll come across all the brands that Titan has across all the segments. So this gives you an idea about the segments therein: jewelry, watches, eye care, fragrances, fashion, accessories, and Indian dress wear. Right? Then within that, the segmentation of the brands that exist, right from luxury to premium to mid market to mass market, what are the brands that are available. एक simple example अगर लेंगे तो we will realize that Zoya is a luxury brand for jewelry, Tanishq is a premium brand for luxury, whereas mid market में Carrot Lane और Mia जो brands हैं वो आ जाएंगे. Carrot Lane is a subsidiary of Titan, which again details of which are given in the annual report as you go along, right? So these are all the brands that Titan has, and then they have some licensed brands as well जहाँ उनके पास licensing है that they can use to kind of sell these products in India, right? If you look at the next segment that comes important is a letter from the chairman or the managing director. किसी भी company का annual report उठाएंगे तो एक shareholders के लिए एक letter होगा, right? So that is what we will look at. यहाँ पे there are some parts that we have highlighted in this particular letter by the managing director. Let's look at these parts. So it tells you about business tailwinds. क्या drive कर रहा है इस business को? So households in the top 2 income classes from whom your company derives most of its business. Now top 2 income classes ऐसा है कि मान लीजिए अगर आप एक income pyramid ले रहे हैं, so what are the top 2 sort of most economically well off income classes? वहां से most of the business gets derived for Titan. This is expected to double their share in the total number of households by 2030. To give you an idea, अगर इनकम पिरामिड अभी कुछ इस तरह का है जिसमें कि टॉप 2 जो सेगमेंट्स हैं वो दिस एंड दिस हैं. ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम दिस पिरामिड वुड बेसिकली चेंज इट्स शेप टू समथिंग लाइक दिस, where the top 2 segments will be very large, right? The premium segment and the upper middle class will be very large. So there's a huge tailwind just because economy is progressing and people are moving upward. People are upwardly mobile in terms of their earnings and their wealth as we look at that. The market share of most of the brands in their respective categories is low, right? अब क्यों है? क्योंकि टाइटन का अगर आप एक प्लेबुक देखेंगे तो एक बहुत ही सिंपल सा फंडामेंटल प्रेमाइज है. दे पिक अप a large unorganized segment in the retail industry and then try and become the largest organized player in that segment, right? तो आप ज्वेलरी देख लीजिए, आप आईवेयर देख लीजिए, आप वॉचेस देख लीजिए, फैशन एसेसरीज देख लीजिए, इंडियन ड्रेस वेयर देख लीजिए. All of these are segments which are historically, these segments have been like at a very unorganized kind of a level, and there Titan has kind of tried to become the largest organized player, right? So that's the strong tailwind that exists. They've talked about their manufacturing and technology subsidiary as well, and they've talked about what are the ideas with respect to the consolidated revenue targets that they have over this period, right? So that's how you would look at this annual report and details around that. Now, the next segment that would come is they would talk about what are the segments specifically. So jewelry से उनका क्या revenue है, क्या EBIT है, क्या margins है, how many stores have they opened in each of the categories in the last year, right? They give some interesting insights about how do they acquire the customer, right? So most of the customer acquisition happens through, sort of 95% of the purchases happen in store, but in store आने से पहले the biggest amount of customer interaction happens online, right? So roughly 40 lakh visitors per month on the app and website, और इसमें से roughly 0.75% conversion होता है, तो footfalls inside the stores आ जाते हैं, right? So that's how their core acquisition channel kind of works. Then you go to watches and wearables. You'll realize that watches and wearables, while the second largest segment, is still not is substantially smaller than jewelry segment, right? यहाँ पे what is going on is, as the company says, revenues of analog watches grew by 14%, driven by premiumization and higher average price realizations. What is happening is people are again upwardly mobile with respect to these watches, and that is causing the revenue to go up because premiumization play out कर रहा है watches segment में. Right, so that's one area. Eye care is a small division at this point of time, just 700 crore of revenues and EBIT of about 85 crore. So that's eye care division. Additionally, they have fashion accessories, fragrances, and Indian dresswear segments as well, but they are small at this point of time. Then we go into the management discussion and analysis. तो वहाँ पे ये जो MD&A का segment है, यहाँ पे we will find a lot of information about their specific segments. So wearables में we are saying that market share increase of multi-brand channels, revenue growth of 19%. How many stores do they have? All of this information is kind of available. Jewelry में they are saying that last year was volatile due to significant gold price hikes and large drop in solitaire diamond prices in the international geopolitical and macroeconomic forces that are playing out. Despite that, they have kind of had a 20% top line growth, right? Then fragrances and fashion accessories, they give an interesting insight about the segment that, a lot of customers, younger customers who were initially sort of buying deodorants at the 150 per unit are now migrating to perfumes at 599 per unit, right? So the growth range in the segment below 1000 per 100 ml is witness, it's about 60 to 70%, or greater than rupees 3000 per 100 ml pe bhi double digit growth ho raha hai. So there's a massive growth that is going on in the fragrances segment, and that's what Titan is playing on. Women's bags accessories segment mein, you will note that organized players are nearly about 2500 crore and 13 million units. The category is witnessing a healthy double digit growth, and unorganized is actually about 1.5 to 2 times of this. So this is an example that you can get industry information as well. So if you have a player tomorrow who's in the women's bag segment, you know that the market size you're talking about is approximately 5 to 7,000 crore overall, including organized and unorganized that is there. And how is that going to expand over a period of time? So that's the idea of looking at some of this information. All of this is available in the MD&A segment of the report. Then you get segment-wise performance. So you'll see a bunch of these informations, and you'll note that about 85% of the revenue comes from the jewelry segment. Second largest is watches, and then the other three are smaller segments at this point of time that are there, right? When you look at the balance sheet, next step पे आप आएंगे तो आप balance sheet देखने लगेंगे. तो generally when you skim through the balance sheet or P&L, just look for items which are very large and just spot those items. For example, inventory is large hai. Logical, because they would have gold inventory in or jewelry inventory in a lot of their stores, so that number looks to be large on the asset side of things. On the liabilities, you see borrowings are large, you see short-term borrowings are large. Then there's gold on loan. So gold has been kind of purchased on loan, and they also have a golden harvest scheme, which basically customers can keep going monthly and kind of investing in gold. That is accounted as other current liabilities. Right? So जो भी numbers बड़े हैं, whatever numbers are big, इनके against एक notes to accounts हैं, वहाँ पे आप annual report में जाके इनको check कर सकते हैं कि ये क्या है, what are these numbers, why are they large, and what's happening there, right? So all in all gives a fair bit of information about the sector, about the company. To summarize, जो 4-5 point आपको किसी भी annual report में देखने हैं, आपको देखना है letter from the management for the shareholders, management discussion and analysis, any business numbers. Generally companies give you performance highlights and all of that, so you can look at capacity, volumes, how many stores do they have, how many stores they've added, and so on and so forth. Any financial information, consolidated and standalone information that is available, and then whatever numbers you find which are large in the balance sheet or P&L of the company, you can go and check the notes to accounts just to understand कि ये number क्या है, कहाँ से आ रहा है, and how does that work. right? That's a simple sort of a way to go ahead. Of course, there's deeper understanding or data that is available. This is not a comprehensive set of things that you can do with the annual report, but if you're starting researching about a company or a sector, it is a good start to kind of go and look at the very basic areas to begin with. You'll get some understanding of the sector and then you can proceed with your bigger understanding. आप पिछले कुछ साल के annual reports उठा सकते हैं, आप competitors के annual reports उठा सकते हैं, and when you go through that, your understanding of the sector and the company will evolve, right? So that in a nutshell is in this particular video. Thank you.